Yes,
You're
Grant.
muted.
Oh, Grant. Oh,
He's
actually,
muted.
Grant has left
No,
the
he's not.
room, I think. No, he hasn't. No,
No,
no.
I didn't leave the room.
Oh, good. So what's your question, my friend?
Oh, sorry, I didn't have a question.
Oh.
My dad came down and I was just letting him know I was on.
Okay, great. Great. Hi, Ethan. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so Ethan, Kathy, Andreas, and Audrey, I can just see the top of your heads.
Hi.
And it's really unnerving. Guys, I want you to
This is really tired because I have
maneuver yourself. I need to be able to see your mouth. Kathy, I still just see the top of your head. And it's really hard for me to communicate with the tops of heads. And so I'm really glad.
Sit up because it's just really uncomfortable.
Yeah, sitting up is great, man. Sit up. It's good. It's better for your posture too. It's better for your posture as well. Now, I'm not going to spend time taking you through this because we lost a little bit of time here, but I gave you an entire page of the way I prepare for vacation. Everything that I think of in advance, I literally cannot sit next to a smelly bathroom on an airplane. Okay, so when I pick my seats, I specifically choose them in an area which is not a smelly area. And it's kind of important because you can literally know exactly what is near the bathroom and what is not. So really helpful. Other things that are helpful is calling your bank. If you don't call your bank and you travel, oftentimes the bank will deny your credit card because it doesn't realize that you're out of the country. It thinks maybe somebody stole your credit card. So let the bank know if you're traveling. So really important. Foreign currency, make sure you have some, I think Chinese money is called, is it yuan?
It's called yen.
Yen?
That's Japanese.
Well, yen is Japanese.
Yen?
No,
Yeah.
yuan, I think.
Yuan. It's yen. It's yen.
Yuan.
Y-U-A-N.
Oh, yeah, okay. I say yuan, so I just pronounce it poorly.
Okay.
So I was going to be in Israel, so I was going to get shekels. Okay, so I converted dollars to shekels, and
Are shekels more valuable or less valuable than U.S. dollars?
neither. What happens is, Ethan, that when you make a conversion, like for instance, if I were going to London, I would have to buy pounds. Now, 1 pound is equivalent to about 1.1 or $1.2, so $1.20. But every day the exchange rate changes. So whatever the rate is on the day that I make the exchange, it's sort of an even exchange, Ethan. Okay, it's an even exchange. Now, here's the most important thing for me: history. I like doing research about the places to which I travel. I also download an offline map called City Maps to Go, so I don't have to rely on my cell phone coverage to have maps of where I'm going. I like to know about the history. Now, other thing is gear. I pack very lightly. I used to carry a bag that weighed about 60, 70 pounds that carried my 3 kites and my 2 surfboards and my harness. I no longer do that. I now rent my kite gear on the beach. I recommend that you do the same, but I do think you should bring some games like chess, Sudoku, or playing cards. Books and audio on tablets are really good. Bring sunscreen. It's very expensive to buy sunscreen when you're there. Yes, sir, Andreas.
What if you're going to a place that's cold, not much sun?
Well, it's interesting. Cold and sun really don't come into.
I know, like where there's no sun.
Well, I don't think there is a place like that. For instance, let's say you go skiing in a very cold climate, but usually it's very sunny. So I would still bring sunscreen no matter where I go. And the whole point is this, Andreas, is I check the weather. I know what the weather's going to be, and then I appropriately dress, bring comfortable shoes, hats, sunglasses, and all that stuff. Grant, you had a question.
Well, I just wanted to comment because you say bring games, and I always bring games, but for some reason, all the hotels I go to end up having games that we don't have, so we end up playing those instead of the games that I brought.
Well, you know what? I have to tell you something. Grant, I would still bring a few very small games. And,
Yeah, I do.
And the reason is that when you're on an airplane, okay, those are many, many hours where game playing is a lot of fun, okay? But I really like your comment. I really like your comment. The other thing I want to tell you is, if you go to a poor country, like one of our mathletes was going to Jamaica. Now, what I recommend to people that go to poor countries, like I went to Colombia in February, is bring small gifts that, like a bouncy ball or action figures, things you don't use anymore that you can give away to other children, because you cannot imagine how much they appreciate it. So that's something to think about. Now, the most important thing is your cell phone. And the reason the cell phone is important is it's a safety. It's a safety thing for me. But I also make sure that I have my global positioning system ready to go. So who can describe to me in a few words or a sentence or two the global positioning system? Who's going to take that? Global positioning system, how does it work? We know that it finds your location, but I'm interested in literally how it works. What do you know about that? What is your knowledge about GPS? Go for it, Audrey.
It probably has like some special tracking number or code onto it that some machine can detect signals from it. So most likely it can sense where the signal's coming from, so they know where you are.
That is actually a really, really good answer. That is not how GPS works. That's how radio frequency IDs work, RFID tags. They literally do tag your location. GPS is a little bit different. I'm going to call on Ethan and then Grant. Go ahead, Ethan.
I think it uses the satellite to do something.
Ethan, are you, I called on you, Ethan.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Ethan M, I think, raised his hand.
Yeah. I'm guessing, I'm not sure, but I think it just, everywhere you go, it kind of just tracks you. It tracks you by your phone.
Yeah, that's true. You use your phone, there is a tracking, but how does it work? So Grant, what can you add to that?
The phone gets, so it already has a pre-recorded map that it has, and they get signals from the satellites where you are, and then when you input where you're going, it has coordinates for all of the places on the globe. And then since it already has the pre-recorded map, it finds the best route to go.
All right, now let's talk about it specifically. Are you ready for this?
I know how it works.
Oh, go ahead, Ethan.
There's like a bunch of satellites.
In fact,
they send signals.
Yes, there are 27 satellites that are orbiting the Earth at any one time.
And then like your GPS thing, it like catches those signals, and then based on how long it took for the signal to reach you from the satellite, it can calculate where you are.
In a way, that's true. Now, what you should know is that there are only 24 satellites in operation at any one time, and there are 3 backups. Those satellites they weigh as much as a small truck. about 4,000 pounds. They are solar powered, and they are 12,000 miles in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, they are 12,000 miles up, but I want you to think about this. Think about an airplane. An airplane flies at its height at about 30,000 feet, which is a little bit less than 6 miles. But a satellite is 12,000 miles up. And here's how it works. Are you ready? I'm going to describe it to you in 2 dimensions right now. You go to somebody and you say to them, hey, I'm lost. Where am I? And they say to you, sir, you are 625 miles from Boise, Idaho. Why is that a really unsatisfying answer? Who can tell me why? Andreas?
Because you could be anywhere 625 miles around Boise.
Aren't there an infinite number of points in a circle around Boise? Yes. With a radius, by the way, of what?
625.
625 miles. Now, this story gets better. I now find a second person because I was all frustrated. And I said to that person, hey, where am I? And she says to me, you're 690 miles from Minneapolis. Why is her answer very, very satisfying? Now she represents the second satellite. Who can tell me now why I am happy? Will, can you tell me why I am now happy with that second answer?
Because the 625 miles and the 690 miles intersect. And you can,
at how many places?
not a lot.
Grant, what do you think?
So it's nice because it made it so that the amount of spaces that you could possibly be in is more than 1/5 smaller. I think.
It's interesting what you said. I'm very, very interested in that. Can I have another explanation? Kathy, what about you? And then Seth, I'm going to call on you in a second. Kathy, I called on you. Do you have any idea why I'm now happy that I'm 690 miles from Minneapolis?
I do.
Okay, Seth, what do you got?
There's only 2 places because it's not an equal amount of miles away from either city, so they bend out, so there can only be 2 places.
So Grant, do you see now that
Yeah.
there literally are only 2 intersection points of those circles? Do you guys all see that?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Audrey, you see that?
Yes.
Okay, great, because I don't see you and I don't see Kathy either. But if you could sit up, Kathy, just a little bit, that'd be great. Or put your screen down, which would be perfect. Now, my story gets a little bit better. I find a third person who tells me that I am 615 miles from Tucson. Now, I now know, because of my third satellite, that I am in Denver, Colorado, which is the intersection of the 3 circles. Now,
Mr. Kramer,
yes.
couldn't you just look at the street signs?
Again, think about this, Andreas. You are needing GPS to tell you where you are, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's not always street signs, okay? You're in an airplane. You're literally a pilot. Pilots rely on GPS to land their plane safely. Boaters, when I'm in a boat, it's all about GPS. And I rely on satellites, 3 or 4 satellites at the same time need to do what's called triangulation. Now, triangulation is essentially what we just discussed, but satellites don't do it in 2 dimensions. What do satellites do it in?
3.
They do it in 3 dimensions. So satellites use spheres. So can you imagine 24 invisible spheres that are emanating from the satellite? And that's how the GPS system works. Now, what about speed?
That kind of looks like my triangle thing.
It does. Now, the satellite is 12,000 miles. Don't you think it would take a long time for the signal to get to us?
Yeah.
You can tell me why it is instantaneous. Why is it in Ethan M? Why is it instantaneous when the satellite picks up my location? Ethan M, do you have any ideas? No ideas? How about you, Audrey? Kathy, what about you? Grant has his hand up. What about you, Grant?
Yeah. So it's not instantaneous, but it's pretty close because the radio waves can travel at the speed of light.
Yes. So the electromagnetic radio waves, guys, and I want to really talk about this because I think it's pretty instantaneous. If the speed of light is approximately 186,000 miles per what, guys?
Hour.
Second.
Second. And you are 12,000 miles from the satellite. So if you do the division, guys, we get 93 over what? Come on, help me out. 31 over 3. It takes about 1/10 of a second, 1/10 of a second for that to reach us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I would say that 1/10 of a second is pretty good. And now, this was interesting, Ethan, when you were talking, or actually Grant, when you were talking about the pre-recorded map that's on our phones, it actually, guess who we have to thank?
Satellites.
Descartes. Descartes gave us the coordinate plane. Do you guys see this beautiful coordinate plane of horizontal lines and vertical lines? Yes?
That's the Mercator.
Yeah, although it doesn't look exact. It doesn't look, it's like the distance between 80 and 70 does not look the same between 20 and 10.
Right, because the Earth is not flat. So the Mercator projection map is a really good attempt. It was a German inventor, Mercator, who did this. And do you notice what country he put right in the center of the map?
Germany.
Germany, because he was from Germany. Okay, so pretty cool. Now the Peter projection map,
The Gulf meters, right?
is a little bit better. So the Peter projection map is a little bit better. But what I want to show you is this. I want to show you that 1 degree of latitude, everybody go like this for latitude. Go like this so you know that lat, flat. Latitude actually means, guys, wide. So if I'm walking on the street right now, and with COVID-19, we're supposed to distance, I could say to somebody, and it's respectful, could you please give me a little latitude? And that means that they would separate themselves from me, and that's the Latin derivation for latitude, okay? Now, when I am looking at this, I'm always thinking of each degree is 70 miles. So do you notice how from the equator, it goes up by 10-degree increments? So every 10 degrees is about 700 miles. It's about 700 miles. And every degree of longitude is 825 miles, okay? And it's a little, it kind of, I'm sorry, it's 55 miles. Every degree of longitude is 55 miles, which gives me every 15 degrees of longitude is 825 miles. So essentially, the rectangle, and I'm going to put it right in the Boston area, that little rectangle is an 825 mile by 700 mile rectangle. And I have a couple of questions. Go for it, Grant.
So why for the latitude it goes up to 80 but it only goes down to 70?
Okay, that's a great question. I want to take that question right now. You ready? So it actually doesn't go to 80. It goes to 90. So 90 is actually the North Pole, okay? And 90 degrees south is actually the South Pole.
Oh, so it does go.
So it does go. And if you keep going, now watch this. Here's the prime meridian. You guys see the prime meridian right here?
Why is it called that?
Well, the meridian of, it's called the meridian of Greenwich actually, because Greenwich, England is right on the prime meridian. And I don't know.
Is that like where they made it, I'm guessing?
Well, you know what? They probably did. And they just arbitrarily chose that place. But watch this, guys.
Wait, what's the prime meridian?
Say again?
What's the prime meridian?
Oh my gosh.
Look at the prime meridian. It's a vertical line that runs from the North Pole all the way to the South Pole, and it's at 0 degrees east and west. So do you understand, Grant, that it is not, and Seth, can you not do that, please? Seth?
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Okay, good. So it's 0 degrees west and 0 degrees east, and that's called the prime meridian. If you go to 90 degrees north and keep going, where are you going to end up?
The other side.
And the other side, who knows what the vertical is called on the other side?
Equator.
Audrey, did you raise your hand?
Yes.
Go for it.
Sorry, I just muted my microphone, so yeah.
Yeah.
The equator is kind of separates the south of the Earth, and I don't know if you should say south, but the bottom, the southern hemisphere of the Earth, and the north hemisphere and the north.
Right, that's a latitude, but we're talking about longitude. What happens if I go around the other side? What is the other side vertical called? Does anyone know? It's called the international dateline. And the international dateline is essentially the prime meridian, but on the other side of the Earth. Okay? Now, can anybody tell me here, where is the international dateline?
In the middle of the Pacific.
In the middle of...
Here's the prime meridian, right here at 0 degrees. Please raise your hand electronically. Who can tell me where the international dateline is? And this is kind of an advanced question, but it's kind of difficult geometrically. Andreas, give it a shot.
It's sort of like around the Pacific Ocean. It goes around the Pacific Island. It starts
I
at
can
the
tell you the
goes
exact.
around the Pacific
Yeah,
Island.
that's right. But Ethan G, can you add to that?
180 degrees.
Which one?
The vertical one, the latitude.
Wait, guys. That is 180 west.
I don't
This is
really
180.
agree. I don't really agree since the international date line isn't perfectly straight.
Well, that's true, but
Mr. Kramer,
but
aren't
the
they
point.
both
Wait,
it?
listen, guys, just listen. This is 180 east, and this is 180 west. Which one is the international date line?
Oh.
Which
Wait.
one is the international date line?
I have a
Both it.
question.
Same line.
Ah, thank you, Seth.
But isn't the international date line supposed to be like go around the Pacific Islands?
Well, it does. So technically, let me show you a picture of it. And
Kramer.
the international date line
Is
does
orange?
curve. You guys see it? It does curve a little bit, Andreas. But Andreas, think about it as a straight line. Okay? For argument's sake, it is a straight line. Now, I had a very interesting comment from Seth, an orange. Every time I peel an orange, I see the North Pole and the South Pole and lines of what? Latitude or longitude?
Longitude.
Yep.
Mr.
An
Kramer.
orange is literally a longitudinal fruit. Now, you can make an argument that if I turn it this way,
It'll be a sideways orange.
now it's
Well,
latitude.
who says that oranges have to be that way?
Now it's the East and West Pole.
Yeah.
Or it's still the North
Actually-
and South Pole. It's just different places.
Actually, Grant, that was really, really funny. Now, I want to tell you a couple of other things, guys, that's important, okay? And I want to point out something that Audrey said. Audrey talked about hemispheres, and you need to know that the northern hemisphere is literally half of the Earth north of the equator. The southern hemisphere is the other half of the Earth, a semisphere, but it is also broken up into the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere, and therefore
They overlap.
they do. And can anybody tell me can you describe for me the hemisphere for North America? Go. Out loud.
Northwest.
Northwest Hemisphere.
Northwest hemisphere. How about Australia?
The
South-
Northwest
Southeast.
isn't a.
East Hemisphere.
Southeast.
What about Antarctica?
Southern
South
Hemisphere.
South Hemisphere.
South.
All you need to
Southern
say
Where
say
penguins
is southern hemisphere.
Wait, Mr. Kramer.
Where
Yes.
penguins live.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes, sir, Ethan.
You know how like the international date line, if I just like go in an airplane and fly past it, am I in yesterday?
No, if you fly from America to Asia, then it's tomorrow. If you fly from Asia to
Well, yeah, if I fly
But
from
no one's
Asia
gonna
to
go on a
the United
plane.
States,
Ethan, can you stop spinning, please? Ethan? Ethan, would you be able to stop spinning? Also, Ethan, could you name yourself Ethan M and Ethan G, please?
wait, what do you mean stop spinning?
It wasn't to you, it was Ethan M. Ethan, can you rename yourself Ethan M, please? Just so I see when it comes up on the chat. Okay, let's move on. Grant, go.
If I keep like flying around the world, can I technically make a time machine that goes in the past?
You know, I've always thought about that, but it doesn't exactly work because time zones are arbitrary. Time zones are arbitrary. We try to make the time zones fit with the sunset and sunrise. And that's why the time
If
zone
you
is
keep
there.
flying around the world, all you're gonna do is go one day in the past, then back to the future, then like.
Now, I had a question from Grant.
So it's not really the Northwest Hemisphere, right? Because that's only the quarter of the Earth. So is it
Right.
like the Northwest quarter sphere?
Yeah, well, you know what? They really call it the Western Hemisphere, but I like to be very specific. So I would say the Northwestern Hemisphere. Also, you might also notice that South America is in both North and South hemispheres. So is Africa. Okay. Europe is both East and West. And so those are some of the interesting facts that I see.
Africa is in 3 of them.
It is.
Then what do you call it?
Basically, Africa is everywhere, right? Now, listen up, guys. I want you guys to pick up your cell phones, if you have them, and go on. And if you have an app called Compass, you can find your GPS coordinates wherever you are on the planet.
How does that work?
It's called the Compass.
Yeah, but how does like the iPhone know like about your?
It doesn't know. The iPhone doesn't know. The iPhone has electromagnetic radio signals to the satellites, creating triangulation, and that is the reason why we know.
It knows where I am.
It knows where you are. Now,
it also knows my elevation.
Yes, it actually does give you elevation, and it's pretty accurate because right now mine says 20 feet, okay? And I am on the 5th floor, so it's not quite perfect, but remember, it's elevation above sea level, all right? And so interesting facts. Now, if you go to guys, don't talk until you flag in, please. If you go to latlong.net, I'm going to try to go there now. It's a very unreliable site, so it may not work. But if you see this, can you guys give me any location on Earth right now?
Disappointment Island.
How about you, Kathy? Give me something,
Whoa.
Kathy. Give me a location.
St. Michael.
Any location on the planet, Kathy? Can you give me that?
By like latitude and longitude?
No, just the name of the city or country.
Oh.
Just the first thing that comes to your mind.
China.
A place on the planet. It could even be your city, but just come on, you can come up with a place on the planet.
New York?
Say again, please.
China.
China. Okay. So China, and of course, it didn't work. As I said, it would not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try again, user login, log in, go to lat long, go to lat long, go to there. It works now. We're going to go to
Mr.
China.
Kramer,
Yes.
I did it on my computer and it worked.
Okay, so I've got 35.8, 104. Now, 35.8 positive means it's what? North or south?
North.
North.
Everybody say it. North.
North.
And 104 longitude positive means what?
West.
No.
What?
No. We are west. So Boston, let's go to Boston. Let's go back to Boston.
No, it's east. That's
Yes.
east.
Now, Ethan,
Yeah.
I want you to look at this. Ethan, do you see the longitude for Boston is -71?
Oh, I thought. Oh.
Go ahead,
We're
Ethan.
east on the
Wait,
U.S. but on
one
the
at a
world.
time. Grant, don't talk over. Just please flag in. Ethan, go for it.
I thought it was positive. So.
Okay, so this is negative. China is positive. So China is positive 104, which is east. So 35, 104. So I want you guys to look, and we're going to find China right now. You guys ready? Kathy, you see this? Because I can't see you. I can't see Audrey.
I found my house.
Okay, you ready? Here we go. So we're going to start with 35 north, And what was it? 10 what?
104.
104. 104 east. All right, let's do it, guys. Go. Get me to 35 north. Come on, help me out.
Where?
And half, it's like a little, it's like
A little
3/4
over
of
half
the
of
distance
between 20 and
2
40.
and 40. Yeah, 20.
Okay, so between 20 and 40, that's 30. 35 would be about halfway there. And where is 104 east?
Just above 100. Just above 100.
Not above, to the right. To
Oh,
the
yeah,
right
sorry.
of 100. It's very important, the distinction. So China is right there, guys. But guess what? China is big. So
Yeah.
this is China. Are you guys looking at it?
Yes.
So this is one of my favorite places on earth, okay? And as you can see, 35, which is right about here, and 104, which is right about here, brings us literally to the center of China. Nowhere specific. But if I asked you for Beijing, who can look at my diagram and give me the approximate coordinates for Beijing? Who can do that? And Will, you are muted, so you couldn't speak out loud anyway if you had it. So unmute. And I'm going to go with Seth right now.
About. Wait, can you move it over to the right a bit?
Move what to the right, my friend?
Yeah, that. No, you were there. You were there. The whole screen. 115.
Uh-oh. Always start with lat. Lat goes first, followed by longe.
Which, okay, lat is up and down.
Is north-south, right.
40.
Like 40?
Well, you know what? What do you guys think of 40?
39.
I like 40. 39 sounds good to me too. Okay? So you could, but you can't just say 39. You have to
39,
say 39.
Longitude.
39,
North.
100.
Grant got it.
16.
Listen to Grant. Grant explain.
39 north.
You still have to specify whether it's north or south. Because
Right.
if it's
So it's
39 north, it could be either on the top of the globe or the bottom of the globe.
Good, good. Now, Ethan M., can you give me the longitude, please?
I can't really see the numbers for the
100.
Hold on a second, and please don't call
Oh,
it
I
out.
see it. I see it now.
Go for it.
I'd say 108 longitude. I mean, the east longitude.
Yeah, but 108 is right about here.
Mr.
Oh yeah, 116.
Ah, and I kind of agree. So I would say 116. You have to say it though.
East.
Come on, you can all say it. Will, say it out loud.
East.
East. Now, let's go back and check out Beijing. And I don't know if it's going to work because this thing is very unreliable. And
Typed it wrong.
oh gosh, help me spell it.
B-E-I-J-I-N-G.
Oh my God, guys, check it out.
We got
39 to actually 39.9 north and 116.4 east. That was really, really good work. Really, really good work. Now, I want to show you something here, and this is a map of the United States. Okay? Now, which states are completely within the latitude lines of every 5 degrees and the longitude lines of every 10 degrees? who can raise their hand electronically and tell me which states are kind of completely within Ethan and Ethan
Within what?
are both still named Ethan. I'm going to go with Andreas.
Within what?
Within what?
Within the longitude lines of 80, 90, 100, 100,
Oh, okay.
120, and the
So
latitude
I can
lines.
see. I can see the like Iowa, New York.
Okay, somebody give me another one. Will, go.
Alabama.
Alabama. Grant.
Tennessee.
Connecticut.
Ooh, Connecticut. Any others? Keep going.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Keep going.
Kentucky.
Pennsylvania.
Vermont.
Michigan.
Not
Uh-oh,
Pennsylvania.
I don't agree. Pennsylvania is not.
Vermont.
The line.
Michigan.
Yeah, I would say
Michigan
that
isn't.
Vermont is a no. Look at Vermont
Maryland.
right here, guys. It's
Rhode
above and
Island.
Below.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
I agree with Rhode Island.
Georgia.
Guys,
Michigan.
Massachusetts. Georgia.
Georgia.
Does Maryland work?
Yes, Maryland works. It
Does
works.
New Mexico?
Yeah.
What about New Mexico?
No.
West Virginia.
Wait,
New
hold on a
Mexico
second.
is no.
Seth, isn't New Mexico in this region?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it crossed by all these lawn lines?
Oh, you mean something that's not crossed?
Right,
Oh.
right. So that's kind of a fun one
West
to do.
New
Virginia.
York.
Isn't Kentucky?
No, not West Virginia.
No,
You know
wait,
what? I
Mich-
agree.
New
What's
York.
the one above?
Kentucky.
What's the
Kentucky.
one above Tennessee?
Kentucky.
I can tell
Kentucky.
you geography.
Wait,
Kentucky?
Mr. Kramer, doesn't
Yes.
Massachusetts have a
Yeah,
little
there's
part
like a
that's
survey that says
sticking
not-
out of the
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It's Cape
Guys,
Cod.
Can you guys stop talking at the same time? Now, Seth, you answered the question that Grant posed, and I was wrong to write Massachusetts because you're right, Seth. Cape Cod and Grant is slightly east of the 70-degree west longitude. You guys see that?
Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was about to say Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Good
Rhode
job.
Island is part of Massachusetts.
Rhode
say
Island.
again,
Island.
please.
It's not its own state.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Okay, now, question for
New
you.
York.
Can you guys identify the location of, let's say, Reno, Nevada? How could
Is this
you
in our
describe,
packets that we
who can describe Reno, Nevada to me? And I'm going to put everybody's hand down, and then you can raise your hand again. Go. Go ahead, Ethan.
Oh wait.
It's
Go ahead,
it's
Ethan.
it's
Mr. Kramer.
the
Mr. Kramer.
Andreas, hold on one second, buddy. I'm going to go with Ethan and then you, buddy.
so it's it's in the left of Nevada.
Okay.
To the left and then the middle. So
Yeah, but
it's like
if you're trying to describe the 39th north parallel, how would you describe it? Andreas, can you help out a little bit?
it's very close to the
Parallel is
Just under
is closer to the 40 north.
Yeah.
parallel than
and 100 and
and
So,
you can already tell that it's there.
so guys, you could say that it's slightly below the 40 north parallel. And now,
and slightly
Ethan
below
M,
100.
can you continue, Ethan, to tell me about the west-east longitude?
What? What'd you say?
West,
I need now to know about the
Longitude.
longitude, because all I know is that it's somewhere
Oh, yeah.
along,
And it's just below 120 longitude.
it
West.
can't be below
120.
longitude. Longitudes are
I
vertical.
mean, it's just to
little
the
bit,
right of 120.
Yeah, east or west. It's to the east or west of longitude 120 west?
What? It's to the right.
Either east or west of longitude.
Oh, east.
What? Yes. And that is the location. And so you would actually write Reno right there. And I want you guys to fill all of these maps. Now, the most fun that I have is on this map right here. I want everybody to go to,
Yay.
I love this map. And the reason I love it is because I can just barely make out the names of the countries. And I have a little trouble with the numbers. They're a little blurry. But if you know that this prime meridian is 0, and you know that each increment is 15, help me out here, guys. 15, and then
30,
and then
45, 60,
75,
90,
105,
120,
135.
keep going.
150, 165, 180.
180.
All right, great.
195, 210.
No, it doesn't do that actually. So what happens when you hit the international dateline set, it actually goes to west. You understand that?
Yeah,
Guys,
it wraps around.
Yeah, but it doesn't go to 195.
Yeah, I know.
It goes
I was just
it
saying
goes
the
to
next 15.
180 west, and then it goes to 150 west, all the way back to 0.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to locate for me right now the country of Iceland. And everybody send me a chat. And I better see north, south, east, west, latitude first, longitude second.
Wait.
So give me Iceland.
Can you show us?
Mr. Kramer,
I can't see the latitude.
Okay, so the latitude, this is 60, that's 45, that's 30, that's 15, and that's 0.
Didn't the latitude go up by 10?
You know, it goes up depending on the map. The more detailed the map, usually it goes up by less increments. So this one is kind of interesting that it does 15 on the latitude. And I don't have any chat. Oh, look at that. Oh, you, Ethan M., you mixed up. You did longitude first.
Oh, sorry.
And just so you know, Ethan, when I learned this the first time, I argued with my teachers. I argued with them that the longitude should go first because that's consistent with XY. But for some reason, they literally do YX.
Grammatically correct.
Oh, that's weird.
You know, I don't know. Now, Ethan, you said 25 west, and 25 west is to the west of Iceland. This parallel right here is 15.
Oh, sorry, I didn't read it right.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure that you're there. And Will, you said 35.
I know I read it wrong.
Oh, that's okay. So that's out there. I would say 15 is good. But okay, what about the parallel? You guys said 65? I like it. So 65 north. And then what would you say, 16 west?
15.
Or 16. Because the line goes straight through it.
You know,
sort of looks a little bit below 65 north, maybe 64.
Now, I want to ask you a question. What happens if I leave my chair right now and I walk 5 feet east? What's going to happen to my coordinates?
It's going to change by a very small amount.
Yeah, but how does that amount get seen? I mean, every degree is 70 miles or 55 miles.
it goes into decimals, and it just goes really far into decimals. And
That's
those really
right.
low decimals change.
And I want to show you one other thing, guys. You can either do decimals, which I prefer, or you can do what's called degrees, minutes, and then seconds. And obviously, well, maybe not obviously, there are 60 minutes in every degree. There are 60 seconds in every minute.
Oh my God, that's what they meant. I used to think like the minutes were 60 degrees.
Yeah. So the minutes are literally 1/60th of a degree. So do you know that 1 minute is approximately 1 mile? Which is kind of interesting, right? That 1 minute is approximately 1 mile.
Yeah, it's all because of that saying a mile a minute. Which by the way is how many miles an hour?
60 miles an hour.
60 miles per hour. You know, guys, this has been a lot of fun for me because I just love coordinate geometry. But here's what I want you to do. I challenge you all right now. And Audrey, I want you to listen to this. And I don't know if you can hear me because I don't see your face. And I don't see Kathy's either. But what I want to offer you guys, if you can plot all 42 locations on this one map and send it to me, that would be amazing. We might even figure out a plane, a way to connect the dots and see what it looks like on our planet. So give it a shot, and I just think it'll be a lot of fun for you guys to do that. Now, I have a feeling that you and your dad are going to come up with some really cool way of programming these coordinates and then having them somehow automatically populate on the world stage. So, Will, you're going to work on that?
I'm going to do that in JavaScript.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ethan G,
Yeah.
I challenge you to create a 3D model of the world with lat line.
Oh my God, you should have told me that earlier. About a week ago, I 3D printed a glowing model and made a lamp. And it looks like the moon.
Yeah. Now, I have one last thing to tell you guys, okay? And that is that one of my 5th graders, Luca, went a little crazy and literally created, so Sonic the Hedgehog, and then created Superman and created Snoopy. But not only that, but he actually puts Tweety Bird on top of not Tweety Bird.
His name is
Woodstock. And he gives the coordinates of Woodstock, which is totally cool. And then he does, what else did he do? He did Batman, which I think is cool, and then Super Mario.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, and I want you guys.
Did he draw Cappy too? Did he draw Cappy too?
No, these are the only ones he sent me. But Will.
No, this guy lived back in the 1990s. There was no Mario Odyssey.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, not in the 1990s, but he probably didn't live in the 1990s.
Well, you know that your buddy, Mr. Kramer, he grew up in the 1890s, okay? So I'm pretty old. And I want you guys to have a great week. Why don't we do our cheer without the whiteboard? Why don't we do our cheer from -360 by 45? You ready?
Use mental math.
Go. -360.
Negative
315.
15.
Negative
270.
-270.
Negative 200.
Negative
Negative 135.
205.
Are we going by 45,
Oh wait, no,
right?
that's yeah. 225.
Negative.
Yeah.
Negative
Keep going.
280.
Negative 180.
Negative 180.
Negative
135.
135.
Negative
I keep doing
90.
65.
Negative 90. Negative 45. But don't ever say negative 1.
Negative 0.
Oh my God. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Mathletes. Go Mathletes.
Mr. Kramer.
Ethan M was just trying to go back into time because he went around in his chair really, really fast, and then he went up to the North Pole, and oh my God, I think he's going to get a lot younger. A lot
Mr.
younger.
Kramer.
Yes.
You said never say -1. I'm pretty sure -1 is a number.
Wait, didn't I say
No, he
negative
said
zero?
negative 0. He said never say negative 0.
Yeah, you know I do make mistakes, but and Ethan, you're really making me dizzy. And
Will,
and
you're
gonna
making
fall
me
off the
dizzy because
bridge.
I can't see your chair.
Wait, Will, you're gonna fall off the bridge. Oh my God, guys, everybody look at Will. He is really dizzy right now. Okay, he is like.
Okay.
He's dizzy.
I
He's
challenge
dizzy and
that.
it's 2.
I challenge that.
Wait, Andreas, what are you
I
doing?
challenge that. I
Andreas.
challenge that.
Andreas, what are you doing? Oh my God. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Have a great week.
Do that. Wait, I want to do that.
Bye. Bye.
How do I do that?
Mr. Kramer, you have to from
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.